What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. Right now, we're going to talk about Star Trek Starfleet Academy episode, what is it, 6, 7, something like that? It's episode 7. So, this was this episode felt completely inconsequential. I hate to use the word filler episode because the filler episode is overused. It's an overused term when talking about TV. I don't think that there are many filler episodes out there. Most episodes that people call filler episodes really aren't that. Maybe there wasn't a lot of action in an episode, but there was some character moments. There was some character development that took place. There was things that were important to the overall narrative that would be important to the overall narrative later. It was setting things up, things like that. So I'm still hesitant to call even this a filler episode of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, because I do feel like there might have been some character moments here. You know, you had Darum and Caleb. You had Darum and Jaden. They were on Darum's planet, and he was getting married, and Caleb had to get whisked there in his skirt. I still can't get over it. Jaden had to get whisked there in his skirt to tell his best friend that he shouldn't be marrying that woman. Marrying attractive people of the opposite sex is bad. We shouldn't be doing that. That was a completely uninteresting storyline. Like, it was, to call it boring would be a disservice to the word boring. Because at least when I'm bored, I can at least be somewhat engaged, right? I was completely disconnected from this storyline. Just completely apathy. I was completely apathetic towards the skirt-wearing Klingon trying to break his heterosexual friend up. Maybe it's not a heterosexual friend. We don't know. Everybody's gay in the Star Trek universe. But trying to keep his heterosexual friend from marrying an attractive female, because that, my friends, would be the worst. That would be the worst. And at the end of the episode, she even makes it very clear that she doesn't want to be married to him. She don't need no man. I will be the first female to lead. We shall annul this wedding. What? All right, Star Trek. I don't know who your audience is, Star Trek. That's the thing. I don't know who your audience is. You don't have an audience. That's your audience. Your audience is right there in front of me, right there. Like, look right here. You can't see it because the camera's pointing towards me, but trust me, right over here on the other end of this camera, there is a couch. And that couch is a blue couch, and it's got a fluffy red blanket on it because I like covering up in my fluffy red blanket sometimes while I'm watching TV. And that empty couch is indicative of Star Trek's audience. An empty couch. That's their audience. All right. Then we get our storyline with Caleb and Genesis. Now, I've gone on record many times saying I think that the Genesis character is one of the most interesting characters in Star Trek Starfleet Academy. I think that she has a certain charisma, a certain on-screen presence, a certain confidence. A lot of that could just be the actress exuding these traits into the character. I don't know, but whatever it is, I like the Genesis character. I do. I don't think they've done anything with her yet, and maybe that's why I still like her, because they haven't had the chance to ruin Genesis yet. I liked Sam, and then they had the Sam-centric episode, and I don't really care for Sam anymore. I liked Jaden, and then they had the Jaden storyline. I don't like Jaden anymore. I liked Caleb. Caleb has become very irritating. We like the characters in Starfleet Academy until we get to know them. At least that's been my take on it. So we kind of have a Genesis-centric episode where It's spring break. They don't call it spring break. It's like called World Leave Day or something like that. I don't remember what it's called, but it's spring break. And Caleb does not want to go live with his host parents, with his host family. No, 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 no. I'm far too independent for that. I will stay here on campus by myself. And since Captain Ake is a terrible teacher, a terrible captain, and a terrible judge of human beings, she says okay. Caleb's sitting out here. He's getting his suntan on when Genesis walks in and turns out she's playing hooky from spring break also. Two of the weirdest kids in the history of kids ever. But there you go. They're both playing hooky from spring break. Turns out she had ulterior motives, and she spends the episode manipulating Caleb, making him look like an idiot in order for her to achieve the things that she wants to achieve, which is basically hacking into the computer system and changing her transcripts. It's not exactly what it is, but that's basically what it is, because she wants to get into a captain's track. And then they break onto the Athena, they start doing the hacking thing, they get caught, and of course Captain Ake, she comes and says, I am not going to expel you because I'm far too cool in my bare feet. And I want you to like me because that's all I really care about. So instead, I'm just not gonna recommend you for the captain's program. And I'm gonna continue to not wear shoes. Make it so. Engage. Are we exhausted yet? I'm exhausted from Star Trek Starfleet Academy. It's really been a roller coaster ride for me. I started off the first 2 episodes, I liked it. I did. I liked it. And I had some people doing that for me online. I had some people who thought that it was great that I liked it. I was on Team Star Trek. I had more people tell me that I was an idiot and that I'm not really a Star Trek fan. You know, the gatekeepers, who are just as bad as the people who are doing this. You guys both suck. All right. Actually, gatekeeping is worse. Gatekeeping is worse. I don't care if you're gatekeeping because you love Star Trek. Gatekeeping fandom is worse. And you are toxic. All right. But first 2 episodes I liked. 3rd episode was okay. And then it has been a steady trajectory of all the way since. To the point now where apathy is setting in. I am not caring about Star Trek because every single Star Trek season that has come out, with the exception of Picard, has gotten worse. Star Trek Discovery, when it first started, I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. But I didn't hate it. And then every season it got worse to the point where I didn't even finish it. I didn't even finish it. Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I liked season 1 of Strange New Worlds. Season 2 was so bad. So bad that I checked out. Completely checked out. I was like, nope, life is too short for this kind of Star Trek. Picard was the anomaly. Season 1 of Picard was trash. Season 2 was a little bit better. Season 3 was great. It was the anomaly. Everything else in New Trek starts out with hope and optimism. I'm like, can this be good? And then it's just on a downward slide. I weep for the state of Star Trek. And I don't think it's going to ever get better. Because honestly, I'm just being real here. I think CBS and Paramount are perfectly comfortable with their empty couches. I think they're perfectly comfortable making a show for nobody as long as they get to virtue signal in the process. Star Trek is their virtue signal mechanism. So they can use Star Trek to do their virtue signaling, and then in all their other shows, they can be creative, they can do other things, they can take risks, they can tell stories. But Star Trek, that's their virtue signaling mechanism. This is where we're going to tell the world how good we are and how bad everybody else is if you don't think the exact same way that we do. With our West Coast liberalism That is what this show is going to be about. Our West Coast liberalism, and that's all it's going to be about. And if you don't think the same way as we do, then you are bad. That's what this is for. We don't care that it's on it, that the audience is just empty couches and empty chairs. We don't care. This is an investment into virtue signaling. Let's boldly go, guys. Let's boldly go. I got nothing. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to my rant. I love Star Trek. I love Star Trek so much. And I guess it's like being in an abusive relationship. It's hard to get out of once you're in it. And I'm having a really hard time getting out of Star Trek, but man, they're making it easier and easier. With every time that they slap me in my mouth, it gets a little bit easier. So I guess pretty soon, maybe I'll have the courage to walk out. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to my rant. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. If you could hit that subscribe button, it would make my day. In the meantime, I'll talk to you guys next week.